Welcome to the Ainfluencer podcast, your go-to hub for influencer marketing, e-commerce, and affiliate strategies. Follow us to uncover success stories, expert advice, and practical insights to elevate your brand. This is the Ainfluencer podcast, your guide to mastering influence and transforming your business. Stay tuned.
Hey everyone, ready to jump into the world of e-commerce?
Always. What's on the agenda for today's deep dive?
Today we're tackling a question we get all the time. How do you actually build an online store? Completely from scratch.
Especially, I imagine, if you're not exactly rolling in cash to start with.
Right, got to keep that budget tight. So we found two YouTubers with totally different takes on building an online business. Let's see what they have to say, shall we?
Sounds good to me. Who are our featured gurus this time?
First up, we have Isabella, the baddie in business. She claims to have built not one, but two six-figure online businesses.
Impressive. What's her secret sauce?
Well, she promises to show you how to set up a free website in under 10 minutes.
Okay, that's definitely attention-grabbing, especially for beginners. Starting with zero upfront costs, that's pretty tempting.
It is. And then, on the completely opposite end of the spectrum, we have Brooke Hiddink.
Oh yeah, I've heard of him. He's all about that high-ticket drop-shipping life.
Exactly. He claims to have built a multi-million-dollar business focusing on products over $1,000. So, we have fast and free versus aiming big.
Interesting contrast. Makes you wonder, is one approach inherently better than the other? Or does it all depend on your goals and resources?
Let's dive in and see what they have to teach us. Let's start with Isabella's free website method.
Yeah, I'm curious about this 10-minute website magic. Which platform is she using?
She recommends website name redacted to adhere to prompt instructions. Apparently, their free plan is pretty robust, even compared to some other free options out there.
Ah, okay, I've heard of that one. But is a free website really enough to run a legitimate business?
That's what we're here to find out. In her video, Isabella actually walks you through each step of setting up the store.
Oh, wow, like a full-on tutorial.
Totally. Finding products, writing descriptions, setting prices, even using AliExpress for dropshipping. She covers it all.
Wait, she actually shows how to use AliExpress. That's pretty helpful. It can be a bit overwhelming figuring that out on your own.
I know, right? She even uses a specific example. It's this aroma diffuser / air humidifier thing she found on AliExpress. She shows exactly how she finds the product details and gets it listed on her store.
That's smart. Having a concrete example makes it so much easier to follow along.
Definitely. And get this, you get a free domain name with website name redacted to adhere to prompt instructions. Of course, it won't be your own custom.com, but still.
That's something to think about. A free domain is great for starting out, but eventually, wouldn't you want your own branded website address?
Yeah, that's a good point. It depends on how serious you are about building a long-term brand, I guess.
Makes sense. So let's say you've got your free website up and running. What's next? Design?
Yeah.
Marketing?
Isabella actually addresses that directly in her video. She says, don't get overwhelmed, have fun with it.
Okay. I like her vibe already. No pressure.
Right. She encourages people to just play around with different themes and see what they like. She even mentions a couple specifically, Firefly and Stay Calm.
That's cool. It sounds like she's all about empowering people to take action and experiment. But don't you need some design skills to make a website look good?
It seems like website name redacted to adhere to prompt instructions has a bunch of those customizable themes to choose from, so maybe it's not as hard as it used to be.
True, a lot of platforms have become much more user-friendly. But what about actually getting people to your store?
Isabella's all about marketing. She says that's the real key to driving sales, which, kind of makes sense.
Well, yeah, a beautiful website is useless if no one ever sees it.
Okay, so we've seen how Isabella tackles starting an online store with basically no money. Now, let's flip the script and look at Brooke Hiddink's approach, which is, well, completely different.
Yeah, he's all about aiming high, going for those big-ticket sales. It's a pretty bold strategy.
Totally. He sees huge potential in the high-ticket e-commerce space, selling products over, get this, $1,000.
I mean, it makes sense. If you can sell just a few of those high-priced items, you're making serious bank. But how do you even convince people to spend that much online?
That's where things get interesting. Brooke argues that technology is changing the game. Customers are more comfortable buying big-ticket items online now, especially with things like augmented reality and 3D models.
Oh yeah, like those virtual try before you buy features. It makes sense. If you can visualize how that expensive couch would look in your living room, you're way more likely to pull the trigger, right?
Exactly. It removes some of the risk and uncertainty that comes with buying something expensive sight unseen.
So walk me through his strategy. How does he find these high-ticket products and actually get people to buy them?
He lays out a 5-step process in his video, and I have to say it's pretty impressive.
Okay, lay it on me. Step 1.
Product selection. And his advice here is actually pretty insightful. He encourages people to look for inspiration in their everyday lives.
Huh, interesting. Like, what do you mean? Give me an example.
He uses the example of seeing a treadmill at the gym. It made him realize that people are willing to spend big bucks on workout equipment. So it's about identifying products that people are already spending a lot of money on, not just chasing the latest fads.
Okay, I see what he's getting at. Find a proven market, not a fleeting trend.
Exactly. So once you have a potential product idea, he recommends using tools like ChatGPT and Google Shopping to narrow down a niche.
Ah, smart move. Leverage those AI tools to help with research. What else?
Then he says to vet those ideas with Google Trends, making sure there's a growing market for your product.
Got to make sure there's actual demand for what you're selling.
Right. And he doesn't stop there. He even recommends checking out competitor websites using tools like Shop Hunter or Koala Inspector, just to gauge their potential sales volume.
Whoa, he's really thorough. I like how he emphasizes data-driven decisions. No room for guesswork here.
It's all about minimizing risk and making informed choices. So that's product selection step 1.
Got it. Step 2, finding suppliers, I presume. Because with dropshipping, having reliable suppliers is like everything.
You got it. And guess what? He suggests using Google Shopping again, but this time focusing on stores that specialize in your product category.
Ooh, clever. So, like, instead of looking for the product itself, you're looking for who's already selling it successfully.
You got it. It's about identifying the key players in your niche and seeing who they're sourcing their products from. And true to his organized nature, he suggests creating a Google Sheet to keep track of all the supplier information.
I'm starting to see a pattern here. Brooke is all about structure, planning, and research. Quite a contrast to Isabella's more spontaneous, action-oriented approach.
It's fascinating, isn't it? Both valid strategies, but with completely different mindsets. I wonder if one attracts a certain personality type over the other.
That's an interesting thought. I know I'm definitely more drawn to Isabella's just do it approach, but I can also see the value in Brooke's meticulous planning.
Me too. It's like with Isabella, it's about diving in head first and figuring things out as you go, while Brooke is all about laying a solid foundation before taking that leap.
Exactly. Okay, so we've got our product, we've found our suppliers. What's next on Brooke's high-ticket drop shipping checklist?
Website time. Time to build that online storefront.
Okay, let's hear. What's his take on website creation? Is he advocating for fancy custom designs or something else?
True to his speed over perfection philosophy, he's all about getting your store up and running as quickly as possible. He actually recommends using Shopify's pre-built templates or even a service called Repo.
Repo? I haven't heard of that one. What's the deal with that?
Apparently, it lets you, get this, mirror successful store designs in, like, seconds.
Whoa, hold on. Isn't that, like, copying? Where's the originality in that?
Well, that's where things get a little ethically gray. Brooke's argument is that getting your store operational fast is crucial in the early stages. You can always refine your design and branding as you go. He says it's about getting to market quickly and starting to generate sales, then iterating based on feedback.
I get his point, but it still feels a little iffy to me. What about creating your own unique brand identity?
Yeah, I hear you. It's a balance, for sure. Speed versus authenticity.
Looking to connect with your audience and make your product go viral? Meet Ainfluencer.com, the end-to-end marketplace that connects you with over 1 million Instagram and TikTok influencers for free. With no subscriptions or fees, Ainfluencer.com makes it easy to find the perfect collaboration partners for your brand instantly. Its AI-powered system does the heavy lifting, matching you with influencers based on niche demographics, past performance, and engagement. Start your campaign directly from your Ainfluencer dashboard or your Shopify store in seconds. Manage everything from inviting influencers and negotiating deals to secure payments and performance analytics all in one place. Handle influencer-curated lists, affiliate marketing, and content creation, even translated into 200+ languages, all without paying any platform fees. Unlimited use, forever free. Visit Ainfluencer.com today and take your brand to the next level.
And speaking of speed, he actually recommends a technique called web scraping to populate your store with product listings. There are tools like Shop Scraper that can pull all that information from other websites automatically.
Wow, talk about a time saver. But hold on, wouldn't that be like plagiarism?
Well,
Copying someone else's product descriptions and all that?
you're right. It could be a big problem if you're not careful. And Brooke actually addresses that directly. He says it's crucial to use ChatGPT to reword all the scraped content, to avoid plagiarism and make it your own.
Okay, that makes me feel a bit better. At least he's acknowledging the ethical considerations. It sounds like he's all about working smarter, not harder, but still within the boundaries of, ethical business practices.
Exactly. So we've got our product, our suppliers, and now, thanks to some clever shortcuts, a fully functional website. But how do we get those sales rolling in, especially the high-ticket ones Brooke's all about? That's where things get really interesting.
I'm all ears. This is where his high-ticket expertise really comes into play, right? What's his secret sauce for attracting those big spenders?
He emphasizes targeting what he calls bottom-of-funnel customers, basically people who are ready to buy right now, not just browsing around.
Okay, I think I've heard that term before, but remind me, what exactly does bottom of funnel mean?
Think of it like this. Someone searching for grill on Google, they're probably just starting their research, right? They're at the top of the funnel. But someone searching for alfresco 32-inch grill in black, they know exactly what they want and are way more likely to buy it.
Oh, I get it. They're not messing around. They're ready to click that add to cart button. So how do you target these super motivated buyers? Spill the beans.
Precise keyword research is key, according to Brooke. You need to figure out exactly what people are typing into Google when they're ready to buy. And instead of using platforms like Facebook or TikTok, where you're targeting broader demographics, he recommends focusing on Google and Bing ads.
Oh, right, because with Google Ads, you can target very specific search terms. So instead of casting a wide net, you're going straight for the fish that are already biting, so to speak.
Exactly. It's about maximizing your return on investment by focusing your efforts on the people who are most likely to convert into paying customers.
Makes sense. It's a much more laser-focused approach than, say, running a general Facebook ad. Are there any other strategies he suggests for reaching these high-ticket buyers?
Oh yeah, he's got a few more tricks up his sleeve. He also mentions things like targeted email outreach, reaching out directly to potential customers who fit your ideal buyer profile.
Okay, that makes sense. A more personalized approach. What else? Anything a little more out of the box?
He also talks about leveraging Facebook groups, especially those that are specific to your industry. He uses the example of selling massage chairs. You find a group full of massage therapists, and boom, you've got a highly targeted audience.
Brilliant. It's about finding your people where they already hang out. No need to shout into the void when you can have a conversation with people who are actually interested in what you're selling.
Exactly. It's all about understanding your customers' needs and tailoring your approach accordingly.
So it seems like Brooks' philosophy is not just about selling a product, it's about offering a solution to a specific problem. Almost like a consultant, but with the shop.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. He really emphasizes that it's not just about pushing a product, it's about understanding your customer's desired outcome and presenting your product as the answer.
I like that. It feels more authentic and less, salesy. Okay, so let's say you've nailed your product, you've found awesome suppliers, you've got a killer website, and you're starting to rake in those high-ticket sales. What's next? How do you go from making a decent income to building a true e-commerce empire?
That's where the final step in Brooks' process comes in. Scaling.
Okay, scaling. That sounds intimidating. What does that actually mean in the context of an online store?
He talks about two main approaches, vertical scaling and horizontal scaling.
All right, break it down for me. What's the difference between those two?
Vertical scaling means you're doubling down on what's already working. Let's say you're selling a ton of those black alfresco grills we talked about earlier. You simply invest more in ads targeting people searching for that exact model. You're basically maximizing your return on investment by focusing on your top performers.
So it's like, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Just pour more fuel on the fire.
Precisely. And then there's horizontal scaling, which is about expanding your product catalog to reach new customer segments.
Gotcha. So instead of just selling more of the same thing, you're branching out and offering new products, maybe even in related categories.
Exactly. In our grill example, you might start selling grill accessories or other high-end outdoor cooking equipment. You're diversifying your offerings and capturing a wider audience.
Smart move. It's like building an ecosystem around your main product. Okay, so whether you're scaling vertically or horizontally, the key takeaway is to analyze what's already working and do more of it, right?
You got it. It's about building on your successes and replicating your winning strategies. And what's really motivating is that Brooke mentions how e-commerce stores are often valued at a 4x multiple of their annual profit. So if your store is making $25,000 in profit each month,
Hold on, let me do the math. That's like $300,000 a year.
right, and with a 4x multiple, that translates to
The potential valuation of over $1 million. Wow, okay, now that's some serious motivation.
it puts things into perspective, right? You're not just building a side hustle, you're building a potentially very valuable asset.
It makes all that hard work and planning seem worthwhile. Okay, so we've got Isabella's fast and free approach focused on momentum and organic marketing. And then we have Brooke's high-ticket strategy with all its emphasis on targeted advertising and, well, aiming big.
They're such different approaches, yet both claim to have led to impressive results. I have to say I'm finding it hard to pick a favorite. What are your initial thoughts? Which aspects resonate with you the most?
You know, what strikes me is that both Isabella and Brooke, despite their contrasting styles, both emphasize the importance of taking action. They both seem to agree that getting started, even if it's not perfect, is better than getting stuck in analysis paralysis.
That's like that saying, done is better than perfect.
Exactly. Isabella encourages you to launch your store quickly, even with a free website, and Brooke is all about speed and efficiency in every step of the process. They both seem to believe that momentum is key, and that you can always refine and improve things as you go.
That's a great observation. It seems like they both agree that the most important step is the first one, actually taking action and getting started.
Wish your videos could speak the world's language? Imagine your videos breaking through language barriers and reaching billions more people who speak over 200 languages different from yours. Whether you're a brand, influencer, or podcaster,
Sé per te è importante quanto per... If smelling good 24 hours. Si pour toi il est aussi important. Si para ti es tan importante como para mí oler rico 24 horas.
language shouldn't hold you back from reaching larger audiences. Create a video and distribute it in 200+ languages. How does that sound? Our AI-powered video translation makes it possible with just a click. So why limit your reach? Work smarter. Create one video and turn it into 200+ localized versions.
Horas al día. Tengo que recomendarte Cleansense.
Whether you're a business expanding globally, an influencer connecting with diverse followers, or a YouTuber growing your channel, one thing is clear. Language barriers are a thing of the past. With just a few clicks, you can translate your videos into multiple languages,
Would you like me to translate that?
instantly connecting with audiences worldwide. It's simple. Upload your video. Choose the languages to translate to. Let our AI work its magic. In minutes, your video will be transformed with accurate tone, voice, subtitles, and even voiceover options, ready to captivate audiences in any language.
Last a very long time on your body. There are fragrances for both.
Don't wait. The world is watching. Join thousands of businesses, influencers, and content creators who trust our AI to take their content to a global stage. It's time to start up. Brand ID is your digital hub.
But of course, there are always trade-offs to consider. What are some key differences our listeners should keep in mind when evaluating these two approaches?
Well, with Isabella's approach, you're minimizing your upfront costs, which is great for beginners or anyone who's a little risk-averse. But the flip side is that you might be looking at smaller profit margins, especially at the beginning. It takes time to build an audience and gain traction with organic marketing.
Right, you're trading speed for potential profitability. It's about getting started quickly, but understanding that it might take longer to see those big returns.
Exactly. With Brooke's strategy, you're investing more upfront, both in terms of money and research. But the potential payoff is much higher because of the higher profit margins on each sale.
So it's higher risk, higher reward. You're betting on yourself and your ability to execute a well-researched plan.
Precisely. It all boils down to your individual circumstances, your risk tolerance, and what you ultimately want to achieve. There's no right or wrong answer. It's all about finding the approach that aligns best with your goals and resources.
And that's such an important takeaway for our listeners. There are multiple paths to success in e-commerce. It's about finding the path that feels right for you.
Couldn't have said it better myself. And, while both Isabella and Brooke offer some fantastic insights, there's one crucial aspect they seem to gloss over: the legal side of things.
Oh, right. Taxes, regulations, all that fun stuff. It's easy to get caught up in the excitement of building a business and forget about those less glamorous but equally important legal considerations.
It's about so much more than just taxes. Think product liability, consumer protection laws, those tricky dropshipping regulations, and don't even get me started on import-export rules if you're sourcing internationally.
Yeah, suddenly that set up a store in 10 minutes promise doesn't seem so simple anymore.
Right. There's a whole layer of complexity that we need to untangle.
So it's not as easy as just building a website and hitting publish. You need to do your homework and understand the legal landscape before you even start selling.
Absolutely.
All right, so we've established that legal stuff is important. But how does a newbie entrepreneur even begin to tackle all of that? Where do you even start?
Well, the first step is, as always, research. Get familiar with the specific laws and regulations that apply to your chosen business model and your location. Remember, every country, even every state or province, can have different rules.
So no one-size-fits-all answer here.
Nope. And the last thing you want is to run into legal trouble down the road just because you weren't aware of the requirement.
Right. Ignorance is not a valid excuse in the eyes of the law. So research is key. But is there anything else aspiring e-commerce moguls should do to cover their legal bases?
You know what they say, when in doubt, call a lawyer.
Always solid advice.
But seriously, consulting with a lawyer who specializes in e-commerce and dropshipping is essential. They can guide you through the maze of regulations, make sure you're setting up your business correctly from a legal standpoint, and answer any specific questions you have.
Okay, so finding a good lawyer should be high on the to-do list for anyone serious about starting an online store.
Absolutely. Spending a little extra upfront for expert legal advice can save you from major headaches and potentially financial disaster down the road. Plus, it gives you peace of mind knowing that you're building your business on a solid legal foundation.
Love that. It's about being proactive and preventing problems rather than reacting to them after they arise. Okay, so we've talked about the legal side of things, but I think it's important to acknowledge that both Isabella and Brooke are presenting, well, somewhat idealized versions of their entrepreneurial journeys.
Oh, for sure. Those YouTube success stories can make it seem like it's all sunshine and rainbows. But the reality is that building a business takes serious hard work, dedication, and a whole lot of resilience.
It's not a get-rich-quick scheme. Nope. And there will be challenges, setbacks, and probably a fair share of moments where you want to throw in the towel.
It's important to go in with realistic expectations. It's a marathon, not a sprint.
Well said. And it's okay to ask for help along the way. Remember, neither Isabella nor Brooke had all the answers when they started. They learned, they experimented, they made mistakes, and they adapted. And that's something our listeners should keep in mind. There's a lot of trial and error involved in entrepreneurship.
It's all about embracing the learning process and not being afraid to make mistakes. Because let's be honest, mistakes are inevitable.
Absolutely. It's how you learn and grow. And the beautiful thing is, there are so many resources available to support entrepreneurs on this journey. Online communities, mentorship programs, courses, books, even podcasts like ours.
And of course, don't forget those legal professionals we talked about earlier. Right. It's about building a network of support and tapping into the collective wisdom of those who have been there before. Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground today. We've got Isabella's fast and free approach, Brooke's high-ticket strategy, and we've even touched on some important legal considerations.
Lots to think about. But if you had to choose just one key takeaway for our listeners, what would it be? What's the most important piece of advice you'd give to someone who's feeling inspired, but maybe a little overwhelmed by all this information?
I think the most crucial thing is to remember that building an online store isn't about finding some magic formula or get-rich-quick scheme. It's about putting in the work, learning as you go, and being willing to adapt and pivot when necessary. But most importantly, it's about having fun along the way.
Yes, it's about passion, perseverance, and a healthy dose of problem solving. It's about seeing challenges as opportunities for growth and learning from your mistakes.
Exactly. And remember, you're not alone on this journey. There's a whole community of entrepreneurs out there who have been in your shoes and are willing to share their experiences and insights. So don't be afraid to connect, ask questions, and learn from those who have paved the way.
Great advice. So to recap, we've explored Isabella's fast, free approach focused on momentum and organic marketing, and we've delved into Brooke's high-ticket strategy, emphasizing targeted advertising and a go big or go home mentality. We've also highlighted the importance of addressing legal considerations from the get-go.
And what's really exciting is that these are just two examples. There are countless other approaches, strategies, and niches out there waiting to be discovered.
The possibilities are truly endless. So where do we go from here? What's the next step for our listener who's feeling inspired but maybe a bit unsure about how to move forward?
Well, I think the most important thing is to start by defining your own goals and priorities. What do you want to achieve with your online store? What are your resources and constraints? What level of risk are you comfortable with?
Exactly. It's about figuring out what success looks like for you, not trying to copy someone else's blueprint. Once you have a clear vision of your goals, you can start exploring different business models, researching product ideas, and identifying the resources and skills you'll need to succeed. And of course, don't forget those legal considerations we talked about. Doing your due diligence upfront can save you a lot of hassle later on. It's like laying a strong foundation for your business to grow on.
Absolutely. Seek expert advice when necessary, and make sure you're setting yourself up for long-term success. Now, this deep dive was based on 2 specific YouTubers, but there's a whole world of e-commerce knowledge out there. What's one area you think our listeners should explore further, something Isabella and Brooke didn't really touch on?
That's a good question. We talked a lot about dropshipping, but what about other e-commerce models? Are there alternatives that might be a better fit for certain people?
There are definitely other options worth considering. White labeling, for example, is where you partner with a manufacturer to create products with your own branding. It gives you more control over product quality and allows you to build a distinct brand identity.
That sounds intriguing. You'd be selling unique products that customers can't find anywhere else. What else is there?
Then there's print on demand, which is particularly appealing for creative entrepreneurs. It lets you sell custom-designed merchandise, like t-shirts or mugs, without having to handle inventory or shipping. You simply upload your designs, and the platform handles the rest when a customer places an order.
Wow, that's perfect for someone who's just starting and doesn't want to invest in a lot of inventory up front. Plus, it allows for a lot of creativity and flexibility.
Exactly. And regardless of the e-commerce model you choose, don't underestimate the power of building a strong brand and community around your store. It's something both Isabella and Brooke emphasize, even if they don't explicitly call it out.
So true. It's not just about selling products. It's about connecting with customers on a deeper level, creating an experience, and building loyalty. It's about making people feel like they're part of something bigger than just a transaction.
You've got it. And that's what ultimately sets successful businesses apart in the long run. It's about fostering those genuine connections and creating a brand that people love and trust.
Well said. I think we've given our listener a lot to think about today. A solid starting point for their e-commerce journey.
I agree. Now it's time to turn inspiration into action. Take those ideas, that newfound knowledge, and start building the online business of your dreams.
To all you aspiring e-commerce entrepreneurs out there, remember that the journey is just as important as the destination. Embrace the challenges, celebrate the wins, and never stop learning. And, most importantly, have fun creating something you're passionate about.
And remember, we're always here to support you along the way, diving deep into the topics that matter most to you.
Until next time, happy selling.
It really is. Like you were saying with Isabella, it's all about that quick start, even if it means smaller profits at first.
Right. You're not shelling out any cash up front, but it might take a bit longer to build up to those big earnings.
It makes sense. It's like, do you want to sprint off the starting line, or do you want to take your time and build a more solid foundation that could lead to bigger wins down the road?
I'm hearing echoes of the tortoise and the hare here.
Totally. I mean, Brooke's high-ticket strategy, that definitely requires a bit more, well, everything up front, both time and money. But the potential rewards are huge, right? You hit it big with a few sales and you're laughing.
Yeah, it's a classic case of higher risk, higher reward. You're putting more skin in the game, but the potential payoff is, well, life-changing.
Exactly. So it really comes down to, like, what are your personal circumstances? How much risk can you handle? And what are your overall goals? What are you really trying to achieve with this whole e-commerce thing?
Right. There's no one-size-fits-all answer here. It's all about finding the approach that fits your personality, your resources, and your vision.
Couldn't agree more. And I think that's a super important message for anyone listening. There are so many ways to be successful in e-commerce. It's not about finding the right way. It's about finding your way.
Love that.
Are you an influencer looking to land more deals and grow your income? Meet Ainfluencer.com, the free marketplace connecting you with thousands of brands on Instagram and TikTok. With no fees, subscriptions, or hidden costs, Ainfluencer.com is built to help you succeed. You keep 80% of every deal, and we handle the rest, from secure payments to resolving any disputes. Our AI-powered system matches you with the perfect campaigns based on your niche, audience, and engagement. Simply create a profile, showcase your work, and start collaborating with top brands in minutes. From paid posts and affiliate deals to content creation opportunities, Ainfluencer lets you manage it all in one place. And with tools to track your performance and build your reputation, you'll always stay ahead. Join Ainfluencer.com today and turn your creativity into profit. Free forever. Ainfluencer. Smart collaborations, endless opportunities.
Right.
So, Isabella and Brooke, they both give us some awesome insights. But you know what they don't really talk about?
What's that?
The legal stuff. Like all the boring but essential things like taxes, regulations, all those things that can really trip you up if you're not careful.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Taxes are just the tip of the iceberg. We're talking product liability, consumer protection laws, the whole dropshipping regulation minefield. And if you're thinking of sourcing products from overseas, well, those import-export rules can be a real headache.
It suddenly makes that whole launch your store in 10 minutes thing seem a little, well, oversimplified.
Right. There's a lot more to it than meets the eye. It's not as simple as slapping up a website and waiting for the money to roll in. You have to know what you're doing legally to avoid some serious problems down the line.
Okay, so research is key. But how does someone who's new to all of this even begin to navigate that legal maze? It sounds overwhelming.
Well, the first step, like with most things in life, is research. You have to know the specific laws and regulations that apply to you, depending on where you are and what you're selling.
So no shortcuts here, huh?
Nope, unfortunately not. And remember, every country, even every state or province, can have totally different rules. Ignorance is definitely not bliss when it comes to this stuff. The last thing you want is to get hit with a lawsuit or a hefty fine just because you didn't do your homework.
Definitely not the kind of surprise anyone wants. Research is crucial, but is there anything else you'd recommend to make sure you're covered legally?
Honestly, sometimes the best thing you can do is call in the experts.
You mean hire a lawyer?
Exactly. Find a lawyer who specializes in e-commerce and dropshipping. They can help you navigate all those tricky regulations, make sure you're setting up your business correctly, and answer all those questions that keep you up at night.
Okay, so finding a good lawyer should be high on the priority list for any aspiring e-commerce entrepreneur.
Absolutely. Spending a little bit of money up front for expert legal advice can literally save you thousands, maybe even millions down the road. Plus, it just gives you that peace of mind, You can focus on growing your business, knowing that you've got a solid legal foundation to stand on.
I like that. It's about being proactive and setting yourself up for success, rather than waiting for problems to arise and then scrambling to fix them. Okay, so legal stuff, super important. But there's another thing I wanted to touch on. You know how Isabella and Brooke, they both make it sound like building a successful online business is like this magical, effortless thing?
Yeah, like all you have to do is follow their 5-step plan and boom, you're rolling in cash and living the dream.
Exactly. And while they're both clearly very successful and have tons of valuable insights to share, I think it's important to remember that their stories are, well, kind of idealized.
Totally. Those YouTube success stories, they don't always show the struggles, the setbacks, the long nights, and the moments where you just want to give up.
It's not all sunshine and rainbows. Building a business takes hard work, dedication, and a whole lot of grit.
Yeah, it's definitely not a get-rich-quick scheme. It's a marathon, not a sprint. And it's okay to struggle, to make mistakes, to feel lost sometimes. That's all part of the journey.
Totally. Even Isabella and Brooke, they didn't just magically know everything from the start. They learned, they experimented, they failed, they got back up, and they kept going. And that's what makes their story so inspiring.
Exactly. It's about embracing the learning process, not being afraid to make mistakes, and realizing that success is not a straight line. It's messy, it's unpredictable, and it's definitely not for the faint of heart.
I think that's such an important message for anyone listening who's feeling a little overwhelmed by all of this. It's okay to feel that way. Just remember that you don't have to have all the answers right now. You can learn as you go, and there are tons of resources available to help you along the way.
Absolutely. Online communities, mentorship programs, courses, books, even podcasts like ours. There's a whole world of support out there. You just have to be willing to reach out and ask for help.
Great advice. So to sum it all up, we've got Isabella's fast and free approach, Brooke's high-ticket strategy, and we've even touched on some crucial legal considerations.
And let's not forget the importance of embracing the messy, unpredictable nature of entrepreneurship. It's not always going to be easy, but it can be incredibly rewarding.
It definitely can.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've given our listeners a lot to chew on. We've explored two very different approaches to building an online store, and we've highlighted some key things to keep in mind along the way. But where do we go from here? What's the next step for someone who's feeling inspired, but maybe a bit unsure about how to actually move forward?
I think it comes down to knowing yourself and your goals. What are you hoping to get out of this? What are your strengths? And what are you, honestly, a little scared of?
Right. It's about figuring out what success actually looks like for you, not trying to force yourself into someone else's mold.
Totally. Once you have that clear vision, then you can start digging into the nitty-gritty. Like, what kind of products do you want to sell? What business model makes the most sense? What skills do you need to learn or brush up on?
And don't forget about all that legal stuff we talked about. Getting that sorted out early can save you so much stress down the line.
For sure. It's like building a house. You got to make sure that foundation is rock solid.
Okay, so we've been deep diving into Isabella and Brooke's strategies, but there's a whole world of e-commerce out there, right? What else should our listeners be thinking about? Something maybe Isabella and Brooke didn't really touch on.
That's a good one. We talked a lot about dropshipping, but there are other e-commerce models out there.
Oh yeah, like what?
White labeling, for example. Have you heard of that?
Vaguely, but not really. Tell me more.
It's where you basically team up with a manufacturer to create products with your own branding.
Oh, interesting. So it's like you're creating your own unique product line.
Exactly. And you have more control over things like quality and design. You're building a brand, not just reselling someone else's stuff.
I can see how that would be appealing. You're not just another dropshipper selling the same generic products as everyone else.
Exactly. And then there's print on demand. That's super popular, especially for creative types.
Oh, yeah. I've seen that around, like designing your own t-shirts and stuff, right?
Yep. You create the designs, upload them to a platform, and they handle everything else. Printing, shipping, customer service. You don't even have to touch any inventory.
That sounds amazing, especially if you're just starting out and don't have a lot of money to invest up front.
It is, and it lets you be super creative. You can sell anything from t-shirts and mugs to phone cases and wall art. The sky's the limit.
I love that. So many options out there. It's almost overwhelming in a good way.
It is. And no matter which model you choose, don't forget about the importance of building a strong brand and community around your store. That's something that both Isabella and Brooke touched on, even if they didn't explicitly call it out.
So true. It's not just about selling products. It's about creating an experience, building relationships with your customers, and making them feel like they're part of something special.
You nailed it. And that's what makes all the difference in the long run. It's about creating a brand that people love and trust.
It's about going beyond the transaction and building those genuine connections. Okay, I think we've given our listeners a ton to think about today, a solid starting point for their e-commerce adventure.
Definitely. We've explored different approaches, highlighted some key considerations, and hopefully sparked some inspiration along the way.
Now it's time for all you aspiring e-commerce entrepreneurs out there to take action.
Don't wait for the perfect moment or the perfect plan. Just start.
Remember, the journey is just as important as the destination. Embrace the challenges, celebrate those wins, big or small, and never stop learning. And, most importantly, have fun.
Absolutely. Building a business should be exciting, challenging, and ultimately deeply rewarding.
And remember, we're always here to support you along the way, diving deep into the topics that matter most to you.
So keep those questions coming. We love hearing from you.
Until next time, happy selling, everyone.